Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about mosquitoes. Because this is a subject that I have some experience with, and I've been to Scotland, to Norway, and it's full of mosquitoes, and I tested some things out that might help you in your survival plans to avoid these insects. Because there are 3,000 types of mosquitoes in the world, and yeah, one type is more annoying than the other, or some types carry disease like malaria mosquitoes. Some are very small that they can get through a lot of wire mesh, that they are so small, like in Scotland with the so-called midgets, and in Norway just full of mosquitoes. And that's the reason why I make this video, to avoid, to know what to do against, and what works and what does not work against mosquitoes. So first of all, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my in the description to my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch, so if you're interested, take a look at it. So now we're going to start with the mosquitoes. First of all, why how do you say this? What makes a mosquito try to stab you, so to say, and suck your blood? Well, a big thing about it is genetics. Some people are more genetically more, they have a certain odor or body smell that from naturally, and they are being stung more. I know some people that get stung, like my brother, for example. He's been stung hundreds of times, perhaps in a certain period. And even though I sit next to him, I would only get three stabs from a mosquito. So genetics is a big problem. So if you are, or you are related to someone who is prone to get a lot of mosquitoes bites, then you have an unlucky genetic lottery in that way. Another thing that you need to do is, if you're going to a place where there's a lot of mosquitoes, swamp, marshes, Arctic areas, or so, wet regions like Scotland, for example, then then you need to see what soap you're going to use, because certain soaps attract mosquitoes. There are soaps that are like sweet smelling, or they have a fruity smell, and that is next to your body odor is like a call to an open buffet for mosquitoes. So that's another thing, because mosquitoes are also pollinators, and that's why they are attracted to these kind of smells. So fruit and smell and sweet smells, I would not do that. For example, also deodorant and such thing. So what I would advise, get neutral soap, or only wash it with water. And for example, this is aluminate stone deodorant, and it is just like the aluminate stone video that I made to stop against bleeding, and it is a deodorant version of this. You just make it wet, and you do it under your armpits, and you have the effect of deodorant without the chemicals and the sweet smells, because it is a neutral smell. But if you are going to a place with mosquitoes, that could help a lot. Alright, another thing you need to avoid is, if you're going to stay somewhere, don't camp near still water. Mosquitoes always lay their eggs, or they hang around places with still water. So lakes, puddles of water after a rainfall, places where water is gathered, all these places, and try to avoid camping near those. Stay away at least 200 meters, but even then, there is a high likely chance that you will get how do you say this, bitten, because you are too close and they can go further. But in general, rule about 200 meters. That, yeah, that is a good place if you need to be close to water, so to say. All right, another thing that you do not do is, one of those UV light straps. Well, UV, from what I heard from certain people, they claim that UV attracts mosquitoes, and they say it, but they don't take in account that certain UV traps that attract and zap bugs, they have also a certain carbon dioxide, or something like a sweet or a fruity smell dispenser that attracts all mosquitoes in the neighborhood. So yeah, try to look, if you're going to use one of those UV zappers, that it's also meant for mosquitoes, but if it's only for UV light, then it will not work that well on mosquitoes. So those are the do's and the do's and don'ts. And now we're going to the things that I've used and used with success. First of all, if you're going to go into an area with a lot of mosquitoes, I would say just clothing covering your skin, exposed skin, could help a lot. So just cover your arms, cover your head, your neck, perhaps as much as possible. Cover as much, and then it's obvious that mosquitoes will have less places to sting. But if you even your hands and your face can be covered. So for example, take a bamboo net and put it over your head. You can still see through it and the mosquitoes will not get through it. But be aware that, for example, you see that I wear a cap. That is for a reason, because I always wear a cap if I'm going to wear my bamboo, because it creates more space, and if the bamboo is pressing against your skin, there is still a chance they can bite through it. So you need to create some space that the mosquitoes cannot get sting through it. And also, of course, your hands, wear some gloves. It is not handy in environments where it's very hot, but in colder environments, this is the thing that you need to do. And also what I want to tell you is, if you're going to wear clothing like this, be aware that it should be thicker clothing. Why? I've seen in Norway, I've seen some of my friends wear very tight clothing. Like I've seen some people wear sweatpants or very tight sweaters, and mosquitoes bite through it because the fabric was so thin that, and sometimes there were even holes in the fabric that they even through that they bite through. So a bamboo like this is light and handy to put in your bug out bag. Some gloves you should also have in your bug out bag. Jacket, always never leave without a jacket on your bug out. So those are no-brainers to get to wear as a sort of protection against mosquitoes. Another thing you can do is take some repellents. Well, there is the classic repellents. This is another type, but usually I see people take DEET, mosquito repellent. This works, but there is something that you need to know about it, and that is some people, how to say this? If you sweat a lot, you have to cover all the spaces. It's not like spray, 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 and you're done. No, you need to spray, spray, and cover everything up, because the mosquito will find a spot that has not been glazed with this kind of chemical repellent. And yeah, if you're going to sweat a lot, it will get off much faster, and especially if you're in the rain, if you've gone through rain, you have to apply it again. And usually it works around, there are certain types that only works 3 hours. This one works 6 hours. Some work 8 hours, but you still need to reapply it. That's something that you need to be aware of. And what I don't like about these chemical repellents is they are very, very chemical. So they're not the most healthiest thing. It's also stands on the bottle that you do not ingest this kind of stuff. Don't get it into your eyes. Also dangerous. And of course, taste. In Norway, we have sprayed ourselves with this sometimes. And if you're going to eat something and you got something on your lip or on your fingers, yeah, you will taste it in your food. Or if you do something or lick your lips, you will get it inside of you, and it's not a pretty experience. So this is something that I've used a few times, but the one thing that I tested out and that amazed me how well it works is this rosemary oil. Actually, rosemary essential oil. So what it is 30 milliliters, and there is something that are only good things about it, in my opinion. First of all, the good things about it are It's cheap. This is cost around the same thing, and with this I do much longer than this, and it works longer. You do some drops on top of you. You put yourself in, and mosquitoes hate rosemary. You can also use other oils like perhaps citronella or that kind of stuff. But I use the rosemary, and yeah, first of all, it's not chemical, so it's more healthy. Second, it's how do you say this? It smells very good. So you can smell very good. You don't smell the sweat from hiking from a long time. You don't, yeah, get perhaps you can get a little bit away from the smoke smell that you have by sitting next to a campfire. And because it's an oil, it's not really washing away. So even if you're sweating a little bit, it's it's staying on the skin. So that's also a very good thing. And yeah, it works very well. The thing about it is, uh, it's in contrary to chemical repellent. The thing is, rosemary oil works. The mosquitoes will get onto your skin, but they will never bite because the range where it works is shorter than a chemical repellent. But they will sit on your skin and they will never bite, and they fly away because they cannot stand the oil that you rub on side of you. So that's a very good thing. Whenever I use this, I never got stung. But one tip for all the people: if you have some uh, workers butt crack showing, yeah, also rub that in with a little bit rosemary oil, because yeah, mosquitoes will find every open spot, and if you're working on something like making a fire and you're bent over and your butt crack is showing, mosquitoes will bite your ass. So what I also want to say is, before you're going to use rosemary oil, you need to watch out for certain things. First of all, it can be flammable. It's not really like you're going to spot gun on fire if you're sitting next to a fire, but if it's heated enough, it can react as an oil fire. So if it's close together, so don't leave a full bottle of it next to a fire. On your skin, no problem. The you will not be set on ablaze, on so to say. Uh, Sometimes the smell, in my opinion, the smell is really good, but for some people it's very overwhelming. Some of my friends used it, and the first 3 minutes they felt it on their breath because they rubbed their face in it, and they irritated their lungs and their eyes in the first 3 minutes. But after that, no, because not really. But for some people, it's more intense than for other people. So what I advise is to you to do is, don't rub it into your eyes. So close your eyes if you're going to apply it to your face. Don't swallow it. Although some people use it for drops in their drinks and drink it that way for certain health benefits, but I have not read into that, but some people do that for some reason. So it's not like if you're going to swallow it that you will be poisoned, but don't drink the whole bottle, I would say. What was I going to say? Before you're going to use more rosemary oil, is some people are allergic to it or they have a bad reaction to it. So what I would say is, do a few drops on your arm, rub it, and wait for a reaction. Do you see it getting red, getting a rash, starting to itch, or starting to feel a burning sensation? Then do not use rosemary oil. So that's something that you need to watch out for if you're sensitive for this kind of stuff. All right, so we've done the repellents. Another thing you can do is sit next to a fire. The smoke will keep the mosquitoes at bay. In Scotland, we use this against the so-called midgets. Those are very small bastards of a mosquitoes type. And when we sit around the fire, the smoke that went around it kept the mosquitoes the midgets at bay. So that was very good. You can also do this. You can also enhance this by throwing in a sage of rosemary that you plucked and throw it into the fire, and it will create a more repellent smell for the mosquitoes to go away. And yeah, if you are camping or hiking or surviving in a area with a lot of rosemary, take some sages and throw it into the fire regularly. Another thing you can do is make a burned coffee candle. What you do is you take some coffee grinds that you used, and you put it into melted wax. You rub it in. You mix it. You let it dry in with the candle, and you use it to burn the candle. And the burned coffee is something that mosquitoes do not like. So I would say look it up and how to make it more specific, more specific details. And yeah, it's something that works well, and you can perhaps do it in some type of small candle or small burner type that you can put in your bug-out bag. Um, citronella is something that you also can use. There are citronella candles, but yeah, in a survival situation when there is a lot of wind, that's not really handy. So yeah, there are also some type of myrrh, I don't know the English word, that's the sticks that you burn that burn very slowly and create a lot of smoke. That's also something that you can use with citronella or rosemary inside of it. So it's very light, cheap to buy and to take in your bug-out bag if you need it. That's another thing that I forgot to say. If you have a lot of mosquitoes in your area, try to sleep in the wind. So yeah, if you sleep in the wind will blow the mosquitoes away. That they will not hang around that easy. There will be some hang around, but most of them will pass away. Uh, Another thing that I want to say is cigar smoke. Some of my buddies smoked a cigar while we were camping, and that kept the mosquitoes around their head away. I do not condone. I do not say that you have to smoke, but for people that like to smoke a cigar once in a while, do not inhale. By the way, it's kind of a repellent around your head. So yeah. All right. Next thing that I talk about is uh, one of those. How do you say this? There are tents, bivy bags, and sleeping hammocks. And if you're going to use one for your bug out, I would say uh, oh, I have one of those Amazonas ultralight sleeping hammocks. It's like a sleeping bag that you hang up like a hammock, and this is with built-in mosquito net. Works fine. Used it in Scotland, and I never got stung while I was sleeping. So that's already a good option. This is a bivy bag, a mountain bivy bag, and it's just a sleeping bag with some wire mesh in front of your face so you can breathe and let some CO2 letting out. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to use this, make sure that you wear something that keeps some distance from your face, because uh, I've been bitten before while using the BV bag. I will make a video about it, and it was the mesh was laying against my face, and I heard some mosquitoes sitting on top of my cheek, and one of them stung me. So that's something that you need to watch out for. So wear a cap or something that will keep your the mesh from your face from at least from a distance. And another thing, and it is that this is the thing that I used in Norway, and that is one of those bivy tents. Oh shit! One of those bivy tents. If you can see, it is just like a sleeping bag, but it's a sleeping bag half tent with something that goes up with these two poles. So I will make a video about it. But the thing is, here you have some mesh or some wire mesh, and here you can open this and also have some wire mesh. And yeah, that is a good way to sleep without having the mosquitoes biting you. But I must warn you, if you're going to use something like this, I would say get some earplugs if you're going in an area with a lot of mosquitoes. I've been sleeping in this in Norway when I went to the Trolltungas, which is more like a mountainous area. It is actually a little bit in the mountainous. You are, I think, 1,500 meters above sea level, and I've never seen so many mosquitoes in one place. These were big bastards that were hanging around you with the hundreds in even cold areas, which surprised me very much. But the thing is, if you're going to use this and the mosquitoes, if it's very cold, you are the only hot thing with a good smell in the area, in a mountainous terrain. So the mosquitoes will pellet themselves into you, and what you will hear constantly in the night is this. You will hear hundreds of mosquitoes collapse. How do you say this? Making a collapsing against your tents because they want to get in desperately, and this constant ticking sound can be annoying for some people. So even I had to wear earplugs just so I can sleep without the constant ticking of mosquitoes bashing against the tent. So that's a very good tip that you need to do if you're going to use one of these. And the last one tip that I want to show you is something that I learned from a person in Scotland, and that is actually the great kilt. I've made a video about the great kilt, but I forgot to mention one thing, and that is our great kilt, by the way, is just a woolen blanket of 5 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, and it's made out of wool. And it's made out of wool, and it is something that is very important. If you ever wondered how did Scottish people used to go one place to another in the wilderness in Scotland without and stay at the night or camping at the night in this kind of barren highlands. So yeah, there are a lot of mosquitoes. There are not that many shelters or options to make shelters, and they did not have the capability to take a tent with them. So what did Scottish people do? They opened their great kilt, they lay on top of it, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. And what they did was they rolled themselves into the great kilt, and that way they closed them off. But because it's made out of wool, it is not by the way not a full encirclement. It is just to show you you can still breathe while you're closed off, and the wool material is thick enough that the mosquitoes, their stingers will not be able to pierce through it. That material is too thick for it, and you can keep them away and still breathing, and you're going to stay warm even in the cold Scottish climate. So yeah, that's a neat trick that the Scottish people did there. All right, I think I'm almost ready. Oh. So I think I had everything. So if I forget something, or you know some other trick to keep mosquitoes away or to avoid mosquitoes, please leave it in the comments. I'm always eager to learn new tips, tricks, and survival information. So I would say like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers!